Real talk, which Pokemon would be the best teacher out of the thousands of Pokemon in the franchise? Well, for starters, pun intended, we're going to have many different candidates for each individual class instead of just doing one single class, since it would just be way more fun that way. My name is Pokey, and I'm not going to be wasting your time anymore, so let's get started. Now, the rules are simple. Number 1, legendaries and mythicals will not be allowed in this hypothetical scenario, since Pokemon like Arceus could be absolutely perfect as a teacher because he's freaking God. The second rule is in this hypothetical scenario, all Pokemon will be able to talk, because if I didn't do this, Pokemon like Lucario, who can understand human speech, would win every single time, so this makes it so every Pokemon has a solid chance to be chosen as a teacher. And finally, the last rule is how we're going to assess which Pokemon would be best suited for a particular subject by looking at their dex entries as well as how proficient each Pokemon is at their own craft. So let's start by listing all 8 different classes in which our students will be taking in our Pokemon taught school. Let's just say, for the sake of it, that this school features ages 13 to 16, so yeah. Now starting off with our first period class, we obviously need to go with math, since it's a core subject and obviously very important for the students to learn. Now I want to make classes as fun as possible, so I want to make sure the Pokemon I'm choosing fits the subject and makes the class much more fun for the students. That way they would be much more interested in learning, and this goes for all the classes. Now let's start by listing a few Pokemon who would be good at mathematics. So Pokemon like Metagross would obviously stand out because it's smarter than a bunch of supercomputers. So I don't doubt that it would be smart enough to teach the students math, but I don't think he would make the class fun. Plus he's just way too big and, well, kind of scary even for a Pokemon. If only there was a Pokemon that would be insanely smart and know the best possible way to teach the students in a fun and interesting manner. Oh right, it's our good pal Alakazam. Alakazam basically takes the cake here, and it's not even close. The dude is one of, if not the smartest non-special Pokemon, and between his high IQ and insane psychic abilities, I could see him make math class so freaking fun. I could totally see him doing fun little magic tricks every once in a while during teaching sessions that would keep the students alert and focused for sure. So our math teacher will go to none other than Alakazam. Now we move on to second period, and our students are already loving their new school. Isn't that right, little Timmy? And we obviously can't have our school teach math and not science. I mean, come on, they practically go hand in hand. So for a science class, this starts to get a bit tricky, since I would love to think Alakazam could just be an amazing science teacher as well, but I don't want to reuse the same Pokemon. So I kept scrolling through my book of Pokemon, and then I stopped. I found the best Pokemon for the job, and that Pokemon is none other than Slow King. Hold on, hear me out before you go ape on me. So Slowking is not only incredibly smart, but also very calm and collected, meaning that it would be very patient with the students in case they're feeling a bit stuck or annoyed. And not only that, it's able to solve any problem it encounters with ease, and before someone says that no one understands what Slowking is saying, that would only be true in a normal scenario, since in this hypothetical, Slowking can talk. Also, did you guys know that the dex entry states, when in doubt, ask Slowking? I found that so funny, bro. I didn't even know that existed. And now we have 2 classes finished, and our students are all getting the hang of things, except Alex. Don't come to school anymore, Alex. Now moving on to our third period class, we now need to give the kids a nice exercise so they can release a bit of steam. Yep, that's right, it's time for gym class. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, there are tons of Pokemon that would make a good gym teacher, like my boy Machoke. While Infernape would make things 10 times more fun and allow the kids to just play fun games like Lord of the Rings. But in my opinion, I think a solid option for gym class would undoubtedly go to Lucario. First off, Lucario has the ability to read auras, which would help immensely to better understand the students. Not only that, but he would find the perfect game that all students would at least enjoy to some extent. Lucarios are also very smart and intelligent because of their aura, so they would know what would work and what wouldn't. The only downside is whoever has them on their team during dodgeball is going to win every single time, but maybe you can make a shadow clone and it would be even. So now we move on to our fourth period class, and a lot of people's favorite as well, that being none other than art class. Now for art class, people would tend to forget Pokemon like Grafaiai. I don't know how to say this guy's name, I'm sorry. But this cute monkey is actually a painter, believe it or not. But we just don't have much lore for this Pokemon yet. Unlike the Pokemon who wins no contest, Smeargle. Do I really need to explain myself on this one? I feel like anyone would unanimously agree that Smeargle would be the best art teacher out of any Pokemon hands down. That being said, just remember there are smart Pokemon that could just take up art if they wanted to, but they just ain't my boy Smeargle, alright? So now our class is finished and everyone is like, you know what? This school is pretty fire, except for Alex. Now we move on to fifth period, which will be another course subject, history, where we teach the students of that sweet, sweet American freedom. Nah, I'm kidding, they'll be learning the lore behind the Pokemon franchise. So who would be our beloved history teacher? Well, of course, another psychic type Pokemon. I mean, come on guys, they're just too good. But of course we needed psychic type that is both knowledgeable about Pokemon's history and also loving and caring. It would be none other than Gothitelle. Gothitelle is very smart, and not only that, it has just so much knowledge about everything that it would just make a perfect history teacher. Not to mention and it could show the students the beauty of the end of existence, which I know sounds sad, but turns out it's apparently ethereal and beautiful. And it's not like Gothitelle is going to teach them about, heavy topics like genocide, but the lore between Arceus and Mew and Shadow Mewtwo being cool as frick. I think Gothitelle would be an amazing fit for the class. We are finally at 6th period and nearing the end of our school day, and of course we need to have English as our 6th period class. Now, since every Pokemon can speak English, this could technically be anyone, but honestly I think it could be none other than Zoroark. The reason I say this is because of the connection between Zoroark and N. Black and White has some of the best storytelling and symbolism in all of Pokemon history, and Zoroark is the Pokemon of Gen 5 and the one that has a deep connection to one of the best written characters in the entire franchise. So in that sense, I believe Zoroark would be perfect at being an English teacher, as it would understand the symbolism and representation within the books being read to the class better than anyone. Of course, this is not any normal Zoroark, and my argument is based on gut feeling and theories, but I just love N, okay? And we all know he would make an amazing English teacher. So because of the connection, I would say Zoroark would be the English teacher for the school. Now, we obviously need a study hall where the students have time to either catch up in classes or have a nice little free period during school. Now, this could technically be anyone, but I would just go for a Pokemon like Chansey. I don't know why, but it just fits, I feel like if the students try and make a ruckus, Chansey would be able to break it up, or just be sad and the students would stop. I mean, I'd feel bad if I saw Chansey cry. Like, look at the cutie. How could you hurt such a caring creature? And our last class will have to be health, and that class's teacher will have to be Gudra. I don't care what anybody says, but Gudra just fits. Am I biased because I love Gudra? Absolutely, but it's just so caring and kind. I believe would make a perfect health teacher. Gudra would love its students more than any teacher mentioned on this list, and I'm not joking when I say that. Plus, I bet it would find other ways to have fun and health rather than writing packets on the stupid books. But all in all, the students leave their school jumping for joy, except Alex. Also, since I didn't include Gardevoir, I would say it would fit more as a counselor than a teacher. It just seems like an understanding Pokemon for that kind of stuff. And as for who would be the principal, it'd be me. Me. But guys, let me know which Pokemon you would have as a teacher in your individual school for each subjects listed in the video. I read a ton of comments, so be sure to leave an explanation for each Pokemon. But anyways, friends, I hope you enjoyed this hypothetical scenario, and you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but it means a lot. And be sure to watch my which Pokemon would be the best babysitter video, or which Pokemon power would be the best to have, as I will be making more hypothetical videos just like those ones. But that's all Yuki wrote, and I'll